The Buddha's life, the awakening, and after the awakening. Ananda notices that the Buddha is growing old. Now on that occasion, the Blessed One, on emerging from seclusion in the late afternoon, sat warming his back in the western sun. Then Ananda went to the Blessed One, and, on arrival, having bowed down to the Blessed One, massaged the Blessed One's limbs with his hand and said, "It's amazing, Lord. It's astounding how the Blessed One's complexion is no longer so clear and bright. His limbs are flabby and wrinkled, his back bent forward. There's a discernible change in his faculties. The faculty of the eye, the faculty of the ear, the faculty of the nose, the faculty of the tongue, the faculty of the body. That's the way it is, Ananda. When young, one is subject to aging; when healthy, subject to illness; when alive, subject to death. The complexion is no longer so clear and bright. The limbs are flabby and wrinkled, the back bent forward. There's a discernible change in the faculties, the faculty of the eye, the faculty of the ear, the faculty of the nose, the faculty of the tongue, the faculty of the body." SN 48.41. To what refuge should the Buddha's followers turn after his death? Now I am frail, Ananda, old, aged, far gone in years. This is my 80th year and my life is spent. Even as an old cart, Ananda, is held together with much difficulty, so the body of the Tathagata is kept going only with supports. It is, Ananda, only when the Tathagata, disregarding external objects with the cessation of certain feelings, attains to and abides in the signless concentration of mind, that his body is more comfortable. Therefore, Ananda, be islands unto yourselves, refuges unto yourselves, seeking no external refuge, with the Dhamma as your island, the Dhamma as your refuge, seeking no other refuge. And how, Ananda, is a bhikkhu an island unto himself, a refuge unto himself, seeking no external refuge, with the Dhamma as his island, the Dhamma as his refuge, seeking no other refuge? When he dwells contemplating the body in the body, earnestly, clearly comprehending, and mindfully, after having overcome desire and sorrow in regard to the world, when he dwells contemplating feelings in feelings, the mind in the mind, and mental objects in mental objects, earnestly, clearly comprehending and mindfully, after having overcome desire and sorrow in regard to the world, then, truly, he is an island unto himself, a refuge unto himself, seeking no external refuge, having the Dhamma as his island, the Dhamma as his refuge, seeking no other refuge. DN 16. He renounces his will to live on. Today, Ananda, at the Kapila shrine, Mara, the evil one, approached me saying, "Now, O Lord, bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, laymen and laywomen, have come to be true disciples of the Blessed One, wise, well-disciplined, apt and learned, preservers of the Dhamma, living according to the Dhamma, abiding in the appropriate conduct and having learned the Master's word, are able to expound it, preach it, proclaim it, establish it, reveal it, explain it in detail, and make it clear. And when adverse opinions arise, they are now able to refute them thoroughly and well, and to preach this convincing and liberating Dhamma. And now, O Lord, this holy life taught by the Blessed One has become successful, prosperous, far renowned, popular and widespread, and it is well proclaimed among gods and men. Therefore, O Lord, let the Blessed One come to his final passing away. Let the happy one utterly pass away. The time has come for the parinibbana of the Lord." And then, Ananda, I answered Mara, the evil one, saying, "Do not trouble yourself, evil one. Before long the parinibbana of the Tathagata will come about. 3 months hence the Tathagata will utterly pass away." And in this way, Ananda, Today at the Kapala shrine, the Tathagata has renounced his will to live on. At these words, the Venerable Ananda spoke to the Blessed One, saying, "May the Blessed One remain, O Lord. May the Happy One remain, O Lord, throughout the world period, for the welfare and happiness of the multitude, out of compassion for the world, for the benefit, well-being, and happiness of gods and men." And the Blessed One answered, saying, "Enough, Ananda. Do not entreat the Tathagata, for the time is past, Ananda, for such an entreaty." DN 16. His last admonition to the monks. "Now, O bhikkhus, I say to you that these teachings of which I have direct knowledge and which I have made known to you, these you should thoroughly learn, cultivate, develop, and frequently practice, that the life of purity may be established and may long endure, for the welfare and happiness of the multitude, out of compassion for the world, for the benefit, well-being, and happiness of gods and men." And what, bhikkhus, are these teachings? They are the 4 foundations of mindfulness, the 4 right efforts, the 4 constituents of psychic power, the 5 faculties, the 5 powers, the 7 factors of enlightenment, and the Noble Eightfold Path. These, bhikkhus, are the teachings of which I have direct knowledge, which I have made known to you, and which you should thoroughly learn, cultivate, develop, and frequently practice, that the life of purity may be established and may long endure, for the welfare and happiness of the multitude, out of compassion for the world, for the benefit, well-being, and happiness of gods and men. Then the Blessed One said to the bhikkhus, "So, bhikkhus, I exhort you, all compounded things are subject to vanish. Strive with earnestness. The time of the Tathagata's parinibbana is near. 3 months hence the Tathagata will utterly pass away." DN 16. His last meal. And soon after the Blessed One had eaten the meal provided by Kunda the metalworker, a dire sickness fell upon him, even dysentery, and he suffered sharp and deadly pains. But the Blessed One endured them mindfully, clearly comprehending and unperturbed. Then the Blessed One spoke to the Venerable Ananda, saying, "Come, Ananda, let us go to Kusinara." And the Venerable Ananda answered, "So be it, Lord." DN 16. He retires to his deathbed. Then the Blessed One, with a large community of monks, went to the far shore of the Hiranyavati River and headed for Upavatana, the Malin sal grove near Kusinara. On arrival, he said to Ven, Ananda, please prepare a bed for me between the twin sal trees with its head to the north. I am tired and will lie down." Responding, "As you say, Lord," Vene Ananda prepared a bed between the twin sal trees with its head to the north. Then the Blessed One lay down on his right side in the lion sleeping posture, with one foot on top of the other, mindful and alert. Now, at that time the twin sal trees were in full bloom, even though it was not the time for flowering. They showered, strewed, and sprinkled on the Tathagata's body in homage to him. Heavenly coral tree blossoms fell from the sky, showering, strewing, and sprinkling the Tathagata's body in homage to him. Heavenly sandalwood powder fell from the sky, showering, strewing, and sprinkling the Tathagata's body in homage to him. Heavenly music was playing in the sky, in homage to the Tathagata. Heavenly songs were sung in the sky, in homage to the Tathagata. DN 16. The Buddha recommends 4 pilgrimage sites. Ananda, there are these 4 places that merit being seen by a clansman with conviction, that merit his feelings of urgency and dismay, samvega. Which 4? Here the Tathagata was born, is a place that merits being seen by a clansman with conviction, that merits his feelings of urgency and dismay. Here, the Tathagata awakened to the unexcelled right self-awakening. Here, the Tathagata set rolling the unexcelled wheel of Dhamma. Here the Tathagata was totally unbound in the remainderless property of unbinding, is a place that merits being seen by a clansman with conviction, that merits his feelings of urgency and dismay. These are the four places that merit being seen by a clansman with conviction, that merit his feelings of urgency and dismay. They will come out of conviction, Ananda, monks, nuns, male lay followers, and female lay followers, to the spots where here the Tathagata was born. Here the Tathagata awakened to the unexcelled right self-awakening. Here the Tathagata set rolling the unexcelled wheel of Dhamma. Here the Tathagata was totally unbound in the remainderless property of unbinding. And anyone who dies while making a pilgrimage to these memorials with a bright, confident mind will, on the breakup of the body, after death, reappear in a good destination, the heavenly world. DN 16. Thousands lament the imminent passing of the Buddha. Now at that time the Kusinara Malins had met for some business in their assembly hall. Then Ananda went to the assembly hall and on arrival announced to them, "Tonight, Vasitas, in the last watch of the night, the total unbinding of the Tathagata will occur. Come out, Vasitas. Come out, Vasitas. Don't later regret that the Tathagata's total unbinding occurred within the borders of our very own town, but we didn't get to see him in his final hour." When they heard Ven, Ananda, the Malins together with their sons, daughters and wives were shocked, saddened, their minds overflowing with sorrow. Some of them wept, tearing at their hair. They wept, uplifting their arms. As if their feet were cut out from under them, they fell down and rolled back and forth, crying, "All too soon, the Blessed One will be totally unbound. All too soon, the one well gone will be totally unbound. All too soon, the one with eyes will disappear from the world." Then the Malins together with their sons, daughters and wives, shocked, saddened, their minds overflowing with sorrow, went to Ven. Ananda, at Upavatana, the Malin Sal Grove near Kusinara. DN 16. As long as the Noble Eightfold Path is practiced, there will be arahants. In any doctrine and discipline where the Noble Eightfold Path is not found, no contemplative of the first, second, third, fourth order, stream winner, once returner, non-returner, or arahant is found. But in any doctrine and discipline where the Noble Eightfold Path is found, contemplatives of the first, second, third, fourth order are found. The Noble Eightfold Path is found in this doctrine and discipline, and right here there are contemplatives of the first, second, third, fourth order. Other teachings are empty of knowledgeable contemplatives, and if the monks dwell rightly, this world will not be empty of arahants. DN 16. The Buddha's parting words. Then the Blessed One addressed the monks. "Now then, monks, I exhort you. All fabrications are subject to decay. Bring about completion by being heedful." Those were the Tathagata's last words. Then the Blessed One entered the first jhana. Emerging from that, he entered the second jhana. Emerging from that, he entered the third, the fourth jhana, the dimension of the infinitude of space, the dimension of the infinitude of consciousness, the dimension of nothingness, the dimension of neither perception nor non-perception. Emerging from that, he entered the cessation of perception and feeling. Then the Blessed One, emerging from the cessation of perception and feeling, entered the dimension of neither perception nor non-perception. Emerging from that, he entered the dimension of nothingness, the dimension of the infinitude of consciousness, the dimension of the infinitude of space, the fourth jhana, the third, the second, the first jhana. Emerging from the first jhana, he entered the second, the third, the fourth jhana. Emerging from the fourth jhana, he immediately was totally unbound. DN 16.